Hey guys, Christian Babcock here of The Hunter's Advantage. In today's video, we're going to share with you 3 tips to boost your comfort in a tree saddle this season. I started saddle hunting last fall and I really fell in love with the whole system, especially when I shot my first buck out of a saddle, which happened to be on public land. And it was a shot that I pulled off that I wouldn't normally have been able to out of a traditional tree stand because I was able to rotate and swing around the tree. So I really enjoy the saddle system. But throughout the last season, I found 3 micro details that I think add up to a big difference in comfortability in my saddle setup, and I'm going to talk about those today. Let's get into the first one. So tip number 1 for boosting your comfortability in your saddle setup is to wear knee pads. For me, these are the Sitka mountain pant. They're actually made for spot and stocking, but they have a set of built-in knee pads. They're not very thick knee pads, they're pretty thin, but they do reduce the amount of gear that I have to take into the woods because I can just wear these pants instead of a pair of pants with a set of knee pads on top. But when you're in a saddle, unlike a tree stand, most of the pressure ends up being in your feet. And so even though there's a lot of different configurations that your feet could set in, eventually they get wore out. And when they get wore out, you need to alleviate the pressure from them, especially if you're trying to sit in a saddle for more than a few hours. So one of the ways to do that is with a set of knee pads. And with these Sitka mountain pants and these thin knee pads that I have, I can just lean my knees into the tree, and it takes probably 80% of the pressure away from my feet, which allows them to get a nice rest. I know there's some other ways to wear external knee pads. I know companies like Tether makes their own set of knee pads, but what I've seen a lot of people do is just get on Amazon and get a set of knee pads that would be used by maybe a construction worker or a tradesman who installs flooring or tile or something to that extent. And I feel like those would work well for this. Really, you're just trying to get a layer in between you and the tree. Not that the tree bark is extremely sharp, but when you're putting all of your body weight and pressure into one area, it can kind of build up over time. I feel like these pants aren't the best solution, but for me, I'm always carrying in camera gear. I'm always carrying in a ton of things into the woods. So any way that I can knock down the amount of things that I have to bring in, that's what I'm gonna do. So that's why I choose pants with knee pads in them. If you guys have been with us for a long time and you want to support us, make sure to check out huntersadvantagemerch.com. We've got all kinds of hats, and we actually have some shirts coming soon. So we're excited to get those to you guys and get them out in your hands. Tip number 2 for you guys is to implement a back band. I run a Cruiser XC saddle and an out on a limb podium platform. And so I just went ahead and went with the Cruiser back band. I believe this is around $30. There's a lot of manufacturers of back bands, and you could probably find one on Amazon. But basically what the back band does is it takes more pressure off of your butt and hips and allows you to evenly distribute it into your back. So depending on if you're wearing a 1-piece saddle or a 2-piece that kind of covers your lower butt and then your lower back, this is probably more beneficial for someone that's running a 1-piece saddle. So I just hook this in to my carabiner clip right there, and I usually like to wear it up more near the armpits because it feels like that's where it takes off most of the pressure, and it's just another touch point in the system that allows you to just alleviate some of the pressure off your feet and your hips and distribute some of it to your back. And what I like about the back band is you don't have to wear it all the time, and it's adjustable. I'll wear it on longer sits, and I'll wear it anywhere from my armpits, sometimes my mid back, sometimes my low back if I'm feeling that there. And it just adds another little bit of layer of comfort. I don't wear it very often. Really, it's for when I'm on long sits, maybe sitting 4+ hours in the woods. It seems to be that's where it makes the most difference for me. And like I said, these are adjustable, so you can move it out and lean way back, or you can cinch it down and be closer to the tree. And sometimes if I'm to add another little, just a tip of comfortability, I like to cross my arms into my bridge and into my back band and kind of lean out here for a little bit. This seems to be a fairly comfortable position for me too. But the back band, it doesn't make a massive difference, but like I said earlier, this is just one thing that we can do to add a little bit more comfort in our saddle setup. I still think you can even shoot with the back band under your armpits and not have an issue, but I don't like any more points of connection, so I just quickly move the torso forward and the back band naturally falls and it's out of the way for your shot opportunity. The last tip that I have for you guys today to boost your comfortability in your saddle setup is adjust the length of your tether and of your bridge, and just play with that and see how it distributes the pressure differently in your hips. I personally like to run a little bit longer bridge and a little bit shorter tethered, and it just changes the way that there's the pressure in your hips. It can make it either tighter or a little bit looser. Some people really like to get up here and have a long tether and hang way off the tree. I'm probably even out of frame here, but hang way off the tree. That might feel best. That feels like it pinches in my hips quite a bit. And I can make my bridge longer, and it's just a Prusik knot here, so you do have to kind of work it a little bit. But I can make my bridge longer, or I can shorten it, just depending on what feels comfortable for me. And I think the main point here is that what feels comfortable in your tether and your bridge length is going to be different for every single guy. We're all shaped differently. Some of us are wide at the hips, some of us have narrow hips, and so that's just something to take into account. And I think if you add all these things together, you're going to have a much more comfortable saddle hunting experience come this fall. If you guys enjoy these kind of videos from the Hunter's Advantage, make sure to give us a thumbs up on the video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell, because we got weekly videos coming your way. We're really bumping up the amount of content we're putting out before the hunting season. And we actually got some really cool hunts coming your way too from last fall. Make sure to turn on the bell so you don't miss those. If you plan on saddle hunting this fall, make sure to comment Saddle Hunter below on the video. We want to know how many people are joining the saddle gang. Everybody in the Hunter's Advantage crew is running a saddle this season. Thanks again for watching the video, rocking with us and supporting us. We appreciate it so much. You guys are the best. We have the best community on YouTube. So thank you guys, and we'll catch you guys in the next video.